Oh, cool. It won't focus. That's cool. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Is there some fuckery on my lens? No, it's just stupid. Why won't it focus? Okay, it just won't focus. Cool. All right. This is how I have been sometimes when I'm in a hurry to leave. Been drying clothing and gear when I'm off grid. Using this and use it for heat. When I first turned it on, so to speak, first time, a couple days ago, it was crazy. Let's see, we have a diode. Let's see, yo, diode. See how it's blue? Yeah. This thing's amazing. It has that hole in the bottom. That was the handle. It's just the upside down external metal frame. I've had these two logs burning for 2 hours now. And I have my little USB fan with the metal coil wire. It just plugs right in, real lightweight, plastic, flexible, two little fins on it. And you just plug it in. I have a tiny little bar external battery. And it goes, and yeah. So you can just have, when your fire dies down and you're down to one big chunk, right? You have a big chunk. And it's not enough fuel, it's not enough small stuff to have a flame, but it's still like half of it is like ember. If you blow on it with enough air, oxygen in there, eventually it'll flame up. So if you had a rocket stove, it would be directly injecting oxygen into it and really accelerating it and forcing it. So that's what happens here. And you have the updraft. But here you can control it. When I use the fan, I had just the log sitting on the ground and I blast it with the fan until a 4 or 5, even 6-inch, doesn't matter the diameter. If you have a coal, you can get that coal to spread and grow into a flame, and you start hearing like the wind, where it sounds like a turbine, like inside, or like a jet engine. You get that whooshing, and yeah, that's when it's really accelerated. And I did that, and then I put this metal housing on top. And then if you give it enough air, never touch the outside of this thing. This whole thing is real hot. It's storing heat energy also and releasing it. So as it's sucking up energy, it's releasing it. It's directing everything up. But I blasted the log, and then I put this on there. And then if you get enough air coming in and you get it burnt to a certain point, as long as your wood is pretty good, dry, seasoned hopefully, but at least dry, not green, pretty dead, not rotten, then this is basically it's a smokeless fire pit, and it works the same way as one you'd buy in the store. So we have a constant injection of air, so you're getting close to full, if not full combustion, which it's never technically, I don't think full combustion is technically possible, like full 100%, unless you have a very expensive rig set up, pressurized, vacuumed, etc., extremely high temperature, concentrated, injected with probably acetylene or something, oxygen, whatever. Anyway, technicalities aside, for all intents and purposes, pretty close to full combustion, and there's no smoke. There's no smoke coming off this. I mean, well, a tiny bit, because I don't have a lot of air coming in. But if I push it over a little bit and open up the bottom, and the way I've been controlling it is on the bottom, all you have to do is dig out a little bit, like a Dakota fire hole, right? Let's see, got my rack over here. Okay. That's all I got up here right now. A couple cooking things that are okay to be outside. And if they get wet, it's not going to hurt it. And a little shovel. But all you would do is this. It's not showing up on camera, but there's a hole there now. And that's letting more oxygen in the bottom right there. So, yeah, if I push this whole thing up, like so, lift it up, I could stick something under there, I could put some spacers, whatever. I just put it down. As the wood is burning, it's like kind of moving around. This makes a single log last so long. Continuously burning, you would not be able to do that with a normal fire. It doesn't work that way. This is very, like, controlled. It's a controlled environment. And then on the bottom, what happens is if you put this down, it's flat and there's no air gap on the bottom, and you just kind of push it over a little bit as the wood is burning. Maybe a piece kind of falls on the edge and you just kind of push it over, and it's like set on a piece, or just kind of offset a little bit. See, now I have some gap. And then if I want to close it off, if I want less airflow, because if you have full airflow and you fill this thing up even a quarter of the way with wood, this thing will blast. It's like it could get out of control. It was too much. I had to put a whole bunch of water in there, and I dumped a gallon of water on half of it, and it just 30 seconds later it went right back up. I mean, this thing was like bang, bang. It was like twisting and contorting because the heat was so high. But anyway, so on the outside, all you have to do is just cover it up. You know, and you close off the air. That's about it. So yeah, you can cook on this, put a grate on top, real easy. Once you have basically zero smoke, you can dry things. I prefer not to, because I can't stand the smell of like, if you don't get store-bought, properly seasoned firewood and you just use random firewood you find and everything, yeah, it might be really good firewood, but it's not like professionally seasoned. Like, that's all those people do. They get the perfect firewood, they cut it into the perfect pieces, season it, dry it perfectly, and they heat it up usually. Stuff like that kills any bugs that might be in there, any stuff. They get the real prime, perfect, different types, ash, cherry, and it has that store-bought firewood smell. It's a little bit tough to do that on your own. It's kind of worth it sometimes, maybe once in a while, but I mean, you're not going to sit there and pay $6.99, $7.99, $8.99 for a little bundle of a half hour, 2 hours wood. You do that 10 times and you're like, whoa, it's only a few days. You're going to spend hundreds of dollars. But when you get that perfectly seasoned wood, you don't get any kind of weird smell in your clothes, if you're drying your stuff and it's kind of, the smoke is touching it. Even when you're doing water, you're boiling water, even if you have something sealed, it's not going to be perfectly sealed. And especially when you have something with a lid on it, it's what's happening inside is it's heating up. So as the volume of the air is decreasing inside because there's heat, it's creating pressure. So that heat and air and moisture, when you're boiling the water with a top on a pot, the pressure is causing the air to expand. Okay, it's pushing outward. What's also happening is there's some suction in, because you're not going to have a perfect seal. It's coming out. And you can test this theory, because if you boil water over a fire like that, sometimes it'll get that nasty taste. And that's because one way you can filter smoke is through water. Just like if you had a tobacco pipe, say, and you're pulling the smoke up through the water. That's what the water does. It takes some of that stuff out of the smoke. Water is a great equalizer, kind of a filter. If you ever are stuck in a fire, what you do is you get down to the ground as low as you can, because smoke rises and tends to stay up at the top, and that's where it's the coolest, is at the bottom of the ground. And you get a rag and completely soak it and just squeeze out the water so it's not dripping, so it's as saturated. Just squeeze it so you could breathe through it, and you breathe through that wet rag like that, and it will filter most of the smoke. You'll survive. Water filters a lot of stuff out, so the water will absorb what's in the smoke. And that same thing that's happening with your clothes. The smoke, yes, it's getting into some of the fabric, but water is absorbing a lot of that stuff, the oils and the crap that's in the all like the carcinogens and the things that are being carbonized. All that becomes tiny. It becomes tiny little pieces that are smoke, and it comes up in the smoke, and then those pieces get absorbed into the water as the water is absorbing into and out, kind of like the stuff on the surface or in the fabric is being pulled to the surface because of you're drying it, so there's heat on the outside and it's reaching equilibrium, so it's pulling it, and it's pulling the moisture through the weave of the fabric and pulling that stuff. And as the water evaporates, it's leaving behind all those toxins and impurities and crap and stuff that you smell. And then the clothes will smell like that. So same idea when you're heating up your clothes and you have a dryer sheet in there, and then you take them out and it's like the whole room starts like permeating with that fresh smell that we associate with dry clothes, because you can smell it coming out of the fabric. And that's what happened. It pulled all that fabric softener through the fabric and left a lot of it behind in there, and that's why you smell it. So yeah, anytime you're smelling something, you're inhaling tiny particles of it, which your nose senses, and it tells your brain, oh, this is whatever, and your brain says, okay, I recognize that. That's cinnamon, or that's oak wood burning, or that's smells like gasoline, whatever. Tiny particles are vapor. Yeah, those little particles have to go somewhere. So if there was nothing on it, you would just smell whatever's off-gassing from the fabric itself. Because if you think of any fabric and you smell it, if it has a smell, that means, a couple tiny pieces of that fabric are coming off and you're inhaling them. And yeah, anyway, I always think of the physics of everything and just, yeah, so I don't really see, like right now, there's no smoke. There's no smoke coming off. Oh, a tiny bit. If I push this up even a little bit, there'd be hardly any smoke, but I can kind of smell it. And when you get that one like wood smell, it'll make me sick. And I'm starting to smell it in my fleece. Probably going to spray some Febreze on this thing and then just like rub it around, shake it, air it out. Throw it in the wash tomorrow. Maybe wash it with like some lemon, something like that. That'll really break everything down, all the oils, because there's a lot of oils and stuff. And that's why a lot of times when you wash stuff that has like that nasty fire smell in it, you can never quite get it clean because you need to break down the oils. The soap you're using, you might not be using enough. You could feel in the fabric, it'll feel grimy, as opposed to when it's completely clean and you feel it when it's moist, it feels clean. You can feel it. It has a certain feel to it. You run your hand through it, like across it and everything, and rub it, and you don't feel a residue on your fingers. So, yeah, it's a little difficult to rinse things. Got to figure out what the Amish do. I mean, I know what they do, kind of, but yeah, man, those guys, I'm not sure what they used to do back in the day, in the 1800s, to like filter the water, clean it, do the wash, because those guys were meticulous. I don't understand. How were they more clean than we are? And they're living in dirt, dirt huts, not huts, but like canvas tents a lot of times. Perfect, like from accounts of things, and going to where people are living off grid in that homesteading environment, and you walk into this super rustic cabin and it smells so clean and fresh and sanitary, and the clothing and the linens are like perfect. How do they even do it? Well, they got secrets. They got ways, the old ways. We just use chemicals, bleach, this and that, laundry, certain things, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's clean, everything. That's great. You have to keep your house super meticulous and clean. They did it as a way of life. We do it as a utility in between, and our goal is like to relax. Like their goal was work all day. Like there's no shift. There was no concept of like shifts. Oh, I did a double shift. No, you worked all day. You worked today. Like, what does that mean? Oh, 4 or 5 hours? No, you were up at dawn. You worked until dusk, like until dark. And then after that, there was still work to do. And that's kind of like what I did today. And I have to go to work tomorrow, and it could be dangerous or risky to do something like this, to go off grid with uncertainty, not knowing, but just relying on my skills and resourcefulness and thinking of certain things. It's like, okay, I can go camp, do this, clean up, do these things, and I can go to work and do what I have to do, go home, or I could go to a campsite, whatever I want to do. I could go to the homestead. I could go to the off-grid spot. When you get everything set up and you're golden, and like Blackie says, right? If you watch Blackie, smoothing it. smoothing it, smooth. Right now it's a little rough, but doable. So everything's coming together, wrapping up the night, drying out a few things, drying out, not trying, drying. Cleaning up, cooked up some food. Had to go shopping a few different places and some errands, and yeah, I've been going nonstop since, I don't know, I got up at like 7 a.m. Well, I woke up at 7 and I like laid in bed till about like 8, kind of dozed off a little. I like stretch out and everything. I'm like, okay, I'm aware of the time. It's before I have to wake up yet. I'm like, all right. I always have to be early, man. I'm not a morning person at all. Not even close. But yeah, so woke up completely everything like bone dry, no plan, nothing, no idea. Completely need a bunch of stuff. I'm like, okay. Remain calm. Made a phone call. Hey, yep, called up. There's one guy I work for. So, yep, told me the address. Went right over there. Started working. Worked till like 3:30. From 9:30 till 3:30. Got paid. I'm getting paid a little bit more on Friday from that. Going back in the morning. They'll probably give me a couple bucks tomorrow after work. Yeah, I'm pretty sore. Did a lot of hard work today. Hands are sore, my elbows, arms. Carried a lot of heavy shit. Painting all day, lifting ladders, carrying shit, cleaning stuff, constantly bending. Yeah, climbing, bending, up, down, up, down, up, down, squatting, crouching, just nonstop. Gets tiring. You have to pace yourself. Take little 10-second breaks throughout like each 5-10 minutes. You're just like, you stand up. As you're like standing, you kind of stretch a little as you're picking up something, and you try to incorporate it into your movements. It's like try to be as efficient as you can with every act. Try to make everything intentional. And yeah, so go back to work tomorrow, and probably come back, work on the homestead a little bit, wrap things up, head back. And yeah, new toy. Very cool. The reflector on there too. So there's a lot of smoke now because the air is pretty much closed off. And if I opened it, it'll burn up the wood real quick. I like to leave it right now how it is because it's like pacing itself. Look at that, aliens. Take me to your dealer. Leader. Yeah. Hey. Pretty cool. So, yeah, I like to let the wood is like pacing itself. It's not going to go out, even though it's only 2 big logs, and those have been going for like, yeah, almost 3 hours now. So, pretty awesome. That's about it for now. Subscribe. Don't be a nerd. Well, be a nerd. Subscribe. Either way, whatever works. You should. If you don't, I don't care. If you subscribe and then you leave, good. Fuck off. I don't care. Leave. What's the point? Why did you touch the button? I'm sick of it. Don't do that. Get the hell out. Calm down. If you want me to play Minecraft, like and subscribe, share, do all the things no one does, even though everyone just always says to do it anyway. It's a waste of fucking time, but just do it anyway. Well, it's a waste of time to tell you to do it, because you're not going to fucking do it, are you? Are you? Are you going to go right now, press share it? Hey, guys, check this out. This dude, Dark Meta, should have like at least 800,000 subscribers, but YouTube's gay. That's how it goes. Anyway, all right, man. Love you. Bye. Bye.